Okay, so we have another very, very interesting daf today. This is Friday's daf, so we're going a little bit ahead, which makes it a little bit easier. Friday's daf, very interestingly, begins at a perfect place to begin a daf. It begins really with somewhat of a new sugya, even though it's connected to the previous sugya, the previous subject where we had the discussion between Rabbi and Rabbi Shmuel ben Achmani about which psalm or non-canonical song that the cows sang as they were being brought back. We have other miracles that the same two Amoraim disagree about. So this is one of the most famous stories in the Bible, and also one of the ones that people like to say it just couldn't happen for various reasons, and if it would happen, it would have been a tremendous disaster and not a miracle. However, we of course understand it to be a miracle, and whether it happened or not, I believe it did happen. The message is what's really important, and I think it's proper to believe that it did happen. And if it's a miracle, so then combined with the miracle, people often point out if the sun stands still, it means the earth stops spinning, which would mean that we would stop short and we would fly away. We'd, off of the face of the earth, everything would be uprooted and so forth. So God could have made another miracle to make gravity stronger also, that we won't fly away. And so everything's in its place. V'yidam hashemesh v'yirech amad ad yakum goy oivav lehiksuv al sefer yashar. This is like Rabbi Victor Miller's videos. You could hear in the back the sirens and the horns honking on Ocean Parkway. So in Joshua 10:3, it says, "And the sun stood still and the moon stopped until the nation took revenge against their enemies." And this is what is written in the Sefer HaYashar, the Book of the Upright. Now, there's a medrash called Sefer Yashar, which I remember Avigdor Miller said that it's not considered to be a sound medrash. It's not something that we accept wholeheartedly. And that had been translated into English, and many people thought this is the Book of Jashar that's referred to, Sefer HaYashar. But it simply means, HaYashar means the upright. So it's not someone's name, Jashar, the way people often claim that there's a Book of Jashar and that's somebody's name. But Sefer HaYashar, the Book of the Upright, that's what it means. So the Gemara asks, "My Sefer HaYashar." So here we're making it clear that it's not this medrash that people make a whole big deal about, even outside of Jewish circles, to a certain extent, even though it is a Jewish medrash, but it's not one of the most reliable midrashim, according to Rabbi Victor Miller and other tzaddikim have said. But the Gemara asks, "My Sefer Yashar, Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Rabbi Yechanan, it's the Sefer Avram, Yitzchak, v'Yakov, shenikru Yesharim." So Chia bar Abba is the name of Yechanan, that this Sefer Yashar is not some book that we don't know about. It's a book we know very well. It's the book of Genesis, the book which tells us the lives of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the lives of the patriarchs, who are called Yesharim, who are called the upright ones. And Bilam, or Balaam, if you want to say in English, in Numbers 23:10 says, "Shenemru tamis nafshi mois Yesharim." Balaam asked that he wanted to die the death of the upright. I remember, you have certain people, I mean, it's a good thing, they might not live from their whole life, but they want to at least have an Orthodox funeral, which is how it's supposed to be, But you're also supposed to live upright in your life too. But when it comes to the I remember someone contacted me once. He said he wanted to become a ger, and it seemed like the main thing he was worried about is he wanted to be buried in a Jewish cemetery. All right, I don't know. Ve'echer. So we're asking, where in the book of Genesis is it written about the sun standing still and so forth? Also, the word v'yidam hashemesh doesn't really mean to stand still. It means that the sun was quiet. We could talk about what that means, but not really. The question is, where in the book of Genesis, which is the Sefer HaYashar, and this Medrash Sefer Yashar is a Medrash on Genesis. It's a commentary on Genesis. Where do we find a hint to the sun standing still in the days of Joshua? So it says, "V'zara yiyam layagoyim." So, in the blessing to Ephraim, I guess is how they say it in English sometimes. It's a Shevet Ephraim, the tribe of Ephraim, which was from one of the sons of Joseph, and Joshua, Yehoshua ben Nun, was of the tribe of Ephraim. That's what tribe he came from. He's an Ephraimite. So it says, and his seed will be the filling of the nations. And here it says, until the nation takes the revenge. Even though people are going to ask, what does this mean exactly? But this idea of the fulfillment of the nations, of being the children of Ephraim, this is talking about, this was fulfilled when the sun stood still for Joshua. Why is that? Meaning that when people saw, the whole world heard about what happened for Joshua, they understood that this was, that he was a great man and a great leader, and they had respect for him. So now the Gemara goes on to discuss the miracle of the sun standing still in the days of Joshua. So Joshua 10:13, it says the sun stood still in the middle of the sky, and it didn't rush to set as long as a whole day, a complete day of Chama. So the question is, how long did the sun stand still? Or how many hours did the sun shine, actually? So, Amar Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi, Esrim Barboa Shah, Shai, Azel Shis v'kam Shis. Azel Shis v'kam Shish, Shis Kula Milsa b'yem Tamim. So, Yehoshua ben Levi said that in the days of Joshua, the sun stood still, the sun shined, or shone, for 24 hours. What do we mean? It traveled for 6 hours till noon, as is normal, and then stopped for 6 hours, and then it traveled for another 6 hours, and just before sunset, another 6 hours, the sun stood still until the war was completed. So the whole thing, from sunrise to sunset, was like a regular 24-hour day, which usually should have been about 12 hours, was instead 24 hours. Rabbi Lazar Amar Shleishim v'Shis. Azul Shis v'kam Treisar. Azul Shis v'kam Treisar. M'yasa kim tamim. Whereas Rabbi Lazar said it was even that, not that the sun shone for 24 hours, but the sun stood still for 24 hours. Rabbi Lazar understands that it was 36 hours that the sun shone, because it traveled a normal distance for 6 hours and then stopped for 13 hours. And then went another 6 hours traveling and then stopped again for 13 hours. It stopped for 12 hours. And then it traveled another 6 and stopped another 12, and 12 and 12 is 24. Yisakim Tamim, and the whole time that the sun stood still was 24 hours. Although we could say it was the day the earth stood still, because we know it's the earth that moves and not really the sun, or the sun is also moving but not in relationship so much to the earth. And Michael Rennie was there the day the earth stood still, and so was Yehoshua ben Nun. So now we all know where to stand. So Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani Amar Boy Mushmoina. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani said that it was actually 48 hours that the sun shone. Azil Shis become Tresar. Azil Shis become Esrim Varboy. Shenam of Lay Atzla Vikim Tamim. Cloudami Karalav Kim Tamim Hava. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani said that there was sunlight for 48 hours because the sun went its usual 6 hours and then stopped for 12 hours. And then it went another 6 hours and then stopped for 24 hours because it says that it didn't rush to set for the whole day, meaning that the time that didn't rush to set was 24 hours, not the time that... So the first opinion is the time that the sun was shining was 24 hours. The second opinion was that the time that the sun stood still was 24 hours total. And then the other opinion is that the final time that before it set was like a whole day, was 24 hours. Why? That the first time the sun stopped wasn't a whole day, and so the second time was a whole day. Bishuban Levi Amar Esther and Varboa, Azul Shis become Tresa, Azul Shis become Tresa, Minusakim Tamet. Balazar Amar Shloishim V'Sheish, Azul Shis become Tresa, Azul Shis become Esther and Varboa. V'lei Atz Levai Kim Tamim, Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani Amar Arbayim Mishmain, Azul Shis become Esther and Varboa, Azul Shis become Esther and Varboa, Mekishmrasel V'Yasei, V'Yasei Kim Tamim, Dafim Yasei Kim Tamim. There's a different version of this whole argument of how many miraculous extra hours there were in the day. Rabbi Yeshua Levi, according to another version of this dispute, Rabbi Yeshua Levi held that the sun stood still for 24 hours. In the morning, it traveled for 6 and waited for 12, stopped for 12, traveled 6 and stopped for 12. And so the time that the sun stopped was whole 24 hours. Rabbi Lazar held that the sun stood still for 36 hours, it traveled for 6 hours, it stopped for 12, it traveled for 6 and stopped for 24. Like we said, that it wasn't rushing to set, and so the time before it set was as long as the whole day. And Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani held that the sun stood still for 48 hours, traveled for 6 hours and stopped for 24, traveled for 6 and stopped for 24, because the time it stood still at noon was just as long as the time that it stood still last time. Mabiyase Kim Tamim, Afmidase Kim Tamim. So when it stood still by noontime, it was a whole 24 hours, and before it set was another 24 hours. Tana, with a brayse, Kashem Shamdo Leicham Yoshua, Kacham Leicham Moishel Nakdim and Gurion. So it wasn't only one time in history that the sun stood still. The sun stopped for not only for Joshua but also for Moses, and later in history for Nakdim and Ben Gurion. The Gemara in Tainus that said that there was a Jew who was asking for water. A wealthy Jew was asking for water so that Jews should have water to drink, and there's a whole thing with that, and we couldn't learn the Gemara in Tainus. Yehoshua Kroy Nakdim and Gemara. So Joshua, the story of Joshua we know from, it's directly in the Bible. Nakdim and Ben Gurion, we have a tradition. It's the Gemara in Tainus. L'Moshe Menolan, where do we get the sun stood still for Moses? Asya Achel Achel. Because we have a concept of Gzera Shava that we compare two different verses. That if the same word is used, so it says, "I shall begin." And there's comparison. In Deuteronomy 2:25, it says, when Moses was talking about the war against Sichon, the king of the Amorites. He says, I'm going to begin to make them place your fear upon them. They're going to fear you. And by Joshua it says, I'm going to begin to make you great. And so if the sun stood still for Joshua, it stood still for Moses. Rabbi Yochanan taste. Ksiv hacha achal teis pach decha ksiv b'Yehoshua b'yam teis Hashem esamari. Some say I'm going to give twice. I'm going to give your fear, like we said before, and by Joshua it says I'm going to, in Joshua 10:11, it's what? Oh, thank you. You could have it. You don't want it?
No.
In Joshua 10:11, it says I'm going to put the Amorites before you. The Lord put the Amorites before you. Rabbi Shmuel
I'd rather have this cake.
Bar Nachmani Amar Migufe de Crush My Talei. Shmuel Bar Nachmani said we can find it directly in Scripture. Asher Yishmun Shemacha V'Ragzu V'Chol Mifmanecha. That it says, Deuteronomy 2:25, that they're going to hear about you. I'm going to place it for you. It's the same verse, and they're going to be scared and shaking in front of you. When are they going to be so scared? The time when the sun stood still for Moses. So how could that be? By Joshua it says it never happened like this before or after. So how can we say that before Joshua it happened with Moses, and after Joshua it happened with Makdim and Ben Gurion? So it could be that even though the sun stood still for Nakdim and Ben Gurion and for Moshe Rabbeinu, it didn't stay as long as it did for Joshua. Or we could say that when the sun stood still for Joshua, there were hailstones. As it says it happened when they fled before Israel. They were the descent of Beth Horon, and the Lord sent upon them big stones from the heaven until Azekah, and they died. And so there were hailstones that fell in the time of Joshua, and that did not happen in the time of Moses or in the time of Nakdim and Gurion. Ksiv v'yomer v'amadus b'nei Yisrael kashas hine ksuv al sefer Yashar my sefer Yashar. So where else does it talk about sefer Yashar? We're going to leave this here. We're only halfway through the daf, or through the Amud, but we'll leave it here. So in 25a part 1. All right. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. All the best.